All right, and we are switching back right now to our previous story. This story is the story we were covering right before. Prime Minister Modi, as you can see at the Mudumalai Tiger Reserve in Tamil Nadu, you could see him feeding tigers. We're actually going to keep going back and forth from those two stories. We will be keeping a keen eye on the visuals in Ayodhya as we speak of the Maharashtra Chief Minister, but we'll also keep a keen eye on the Prime Minister as he feeds elephants. Remember, the big thing we're all looking forward to right now in the visuals in just a second is as the Prime Minister releases the tiger census data. The last time this data was released was 2018. The big question is, will we see a further bump in tiger populations? Remember, it's not black and white. It is a delicate balance. If there is an increase in tiger populations, it will also mean, as environmentalists have pointed out, a need to strike a delicate balance with other animals in the ecosystem, with the human-tiger interaction that takes place in multiple locations. Now, my colleague, political editor Maria Shakil, back with us on the phone to bring us more context on these visuals. Maria, we're watching the Prime Minister right now interacting with elephants. Bring us more context.
Yes, so the Oscar-winning The Elephant Whisperers was in fact shot in Mudumalai National Park. And of course, that movie highlighted wildlife conservation, elephants in particular. And Prime Minister's presence in Mudumalai and this interaction with Mahawats, including Bailey and Boman. You can see Bailey and Boman, Prime Minister interacting with them. They were the central figures in the Oscar-winning documentary. Of course, it is making a compelling point on conservation and reducing man-animal conflict. These visuals become important because Mudumalai is spread across Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, and although this has triggered a political debate, but the point being made by the Prime Minister here is this is a recognition of India's overall wildlife conservation initiatives which has been undertaken. And the fact that an Oscar-winning documentary was shot here, and he's interacting with Bailey and Bowman, which were the central figures in the Oscar-winning documentary, The Elephant Whisperers, it makes it even more interesting and interactive.
Maria, can you just point out to our audiences, Bowman and Bailey, what was the story of Elephant Whisperers? Why was these two elephants' stories in particular so special? And then walk us through, because we know that the Prime Minister has also met with the filmmakers after their Oscar win.
Yes, that's right, Toya. So the movie was special because Bowman and Bailey were, in fact, they are Mahawats who take care of an orphan elephant and nurture that baby elephant for years. And this entire journey of taking care of an orphan elephant, baby elephant, is actually captured in that movie. The fact that they live with the elephants, they make them feel welcome. And because these are elephants which often, the baby elephants find it difficult to survive in a wild atmosphere such as that, with such challenging terrain. That is the reason why this made for a great movie. And it won India's first Oscar production, which was won by Kartiki and Guneet Munga. Of course, Guneet Munga also spoke at CNN News 18's event, The Rising India. Both of them met the Prime Minister. They also met the R&B Minister, Mr. Anurag Thakur. But I think the larger message here is with that kind of recognition that India has seen, it's part of India's tradition in the sense that taking care of animals, taking care of those who have been part of our vicinity, trying to strike a balance, trying to understand that as humans we have limitations. Animals also need their own habitat, not to expand. Trying to ensure the man-animal conflict is minimized. All these have been part of the Indian culture and Indian tradition. And this is what was perhaps depicted beautifully in that documentary, where the filmmaker stood and captured this entire journey of a baby elephant, orphan baby elephant, for almost 5 years. So when we look at these visuals, it's essentially that journey of Bailey and Bowman, which was captured, and now Prime Minister spending time with these Mahor.
Can you also tell us, Maria, I believe media reports say, and this is typically the case when you have, a prime minister visit a reserve. I believe that there has been the modernizing of the swimming area for the elephants that has taken place in the last few days. Pathways in the villages have also been built and installed just because there are a lot of tribal areas in the reserves around. So there has been some development that's also taken place in the days up to this visit. Could you tell us more?
Yes, so there has been some development, what you said rightly, undertaken, particularly to make various wildlife comfortable in their respective areas. So for the elephants in particular, bathing areas, more ponds and others, water bodies have been created around them, and so that it looks, so that it overall, so that overall it makes comfortable for them. When we look at these visuals, of course, here it is about, in all, the fact that the lives of Mahawats who are there taking care of them becomes important. I'm just going to give you a small number here, Toya. In Project Tiger.
Okay, I think we might have lost that connection with my colleague Maria Shakil. We'll wait to reconnect with her. As we do, let me just check if my colleague Akshara is still with us. Akshara, are you able to hear us? All right, we'll wait to reconnect with my colleague Akshara too. Let's talk a little bit about Project Tiger, because while the Prime Minister on your screens is interacting with elephants, today marks a big day for Project Tiger, which is the larger reason the Prime Minister is visiting each of these reserves. The tiger census data is set to be released today. The last time it was released was in 2018. And of course, the government is hopeful. They have in the past too talked about their vision for tiger conservation. Today, they're also going to be launching the International Big Cat Alliance, and we'll be talking in a little while about what that is and what that will mean. But remember, essentially what these efforts are working towards is they're working to protect and conserve 7 major big cats. You've got tigers, lions, leopards, snow leopards, pumas, jaguars, and cheetahs. And the hope is that with the membership of a different range of countries that are all harboring these species together, we will be able to conserve these species. It was back in 2019 that you had the Prime Minister first talk about this concept, that there would be an alliance of different countries globally that would come together to conserve all of these animals, and that they would also work together to curb poaching and wildlife trade with the focus on Asia. Now, the hope is that IBCA, the International Big Cat Alliance, is being launched with that goal in mind. Now, the other thing that you are going to have happen today, and this is the big thing as we said, is that you're going to have the numbers put out of the tiger census data. The last time, as we just told you, it was released was in 2018. The other thing you've seen happen over the last few years is an increase in the amount of land that is marked out as reserve territory. Today, and this is particularly interesting data, today 2.5% of all of India's geographical area falls under tiger